Hello, everybody. Welcome to the AI Med Insights podcast. I'm so excited to be hosting two outstanding guests with us. But of course, I want to first say hello to my co-host, Ed.
Hey, Saul. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. We're making a habit of this thing, aren't we?
It's crazy. Well, I might have to move out here.
San Diego's a good place. We have two outstanding guests, as I was sharing today. First, I want to introduce you to Dr. Jason Hill, Innovation Officer at Ochsner Health. And of course, we also have the outstanding David Leingang, who is Director of Innovation Data Science at Ochsner Health. Welcome to the podcast, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, welcome. You just gave a riveting presentation that I went to on how you're attacking the whole message problem for physicians, right? Their inbox, the stats you showed using GLP-1, I think.
Yeah, that was just the use case we looked at. Yeah. But there's a lot of work being done to really streamline in-basket messaging to get them to the right person. It doesn't always have to be a provider that's looking at those. So how do we reduce that cognitive burden and that load on our physicians and still apply the right clinical care for our patients?
And how did you do it?
Like technically?
Yeah.
I should have brought Leo in for this one. No,
so it's a high level, but just technically, It's interesting. Like, what did you have to do to make it happen?
It built a model that looked at all of the messages in the entire system. So 2.4 million a year or so, and really analyzed the frequency of the words that were coming in. And so built a word cloud looking at what was showing up the most. And it was about 4% of all of our patient messages had something to do with a weight loss medication. So Ozempic, weight loss, drug shot, something along those lines. And then we looked at, could we use machine learning to route those messages to the right place? One thing that we didn't say in there is we didn't actually put this into production.
You're testing it?
We're reevaluating whether it makes sense for us to do it internally.
Okay.
Epic's doing a lot of work on some in-basket routing. And so
you gave Epic the idea and they're going to build it into the...
As would typically
Which is fair. Which is good. And
but the important thing is thinking about it this way. There are a lot of data in healthcare and a lot of people view it as a lot of garbage, right? There's a lot of garbage data. But with the techniques that we learn now, newer machine learning techniques, give the capability to unlock a lot of that data. What David also is not saying is that that data actually convinced us to do a weight management digital medicine program, because those of you who remember just before recently when Trump just signed that GLPs will be like $150, which is amazing, but they were a lot more.
Yes.
$1,200, which meant that if you're thinking 4% of all messages were concerning GLPs, there's $1,200 per drug per month per patient. And the success rate for GLPs goes down dramatically if you're not already enrolled in a weight management program. It behooves us to make sure that everyone we're giving a GLP to is already enrolled in a weight management program. So because of that data, we actually created a weight management program that was part of our digital medicine offerings at Ochsner, so that whenever a patient needed it for weight management and they were on our plans that really required that to happen, that we had something available for
positive unintended consequences.
Well, this is the thing. Like you could, when you look at AI, right? Like people think of AI as like this big nebulous thing, but truly it's just a tool to solve problems. Right. It's like another tool in our bucket that we can use to solve problems. And so one of the things that David and I do as part of our daily job is try to figure out, is this problem worth solving? And can AI actually fix it in some way, shape, or form?
Can we solve it through a workflow change or just some education? Do we really need to build a model and spend the time, the resources, the consumption costs, all of the other things that go along with that? Or do we just do a little education and then our physicians take over and we've accomplished the same thing without spending that time and money?
Yeah. Important thing about in-basket. So to actually decrease the in-basket messages we got at Ochsner, one, we had to realize that our metric was wrong. We said, well, if we just spend less time in basket, that'll make everybody happier, right? No, not true. Because what the best message, as our primary care lead would tell me, the best message I receive is the message I don't receive, which mean you end up with a divide by zero error if you're looking at, right? So you're actually decreasing the amount of messages that get to the provider. You're actually answering the wrong problem if you think of it that way.
I imagine there'd be some anxiety too that this could produce for the clinician, right? Am I getting everything that I need to get? Am I missing things through this process? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's a whole system we set up, and it's a bunch of layers. I actually just gave this talk last week in DC. So you can think of it this way. As David had said, you don't need AI to solve every problem. The first thing we found, we actually reduced our click share by about 10% by just changing the order of the messages in my turn. We basically took the message that said, I want to send a message to my doctor. We put it at the very bottom. And at the very top, we said, I have a new problem that needs medical attention. Oh. And what we did when you clicked into that problem, it actually took you to what's called an e-visit, which is a way to actually lay out your whole problem. So what you're finding happen is like pretending Saul's my patient. He would be like, hey, doc, I have this itch. And I'll be like, okay, where is it?
It's always the itch, Saul.
It's on my neck and it's been going on for a week. And then I send a message back. And, it's like that back and forth that just chews up your time, right? So an e-visit allows you to kind of lay out that whole case and then a doctor can pick that up.
That seems like a best practice.
Paid for it.
And they get paid.
That seems like a best practice for Epic. Are they going to?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they're going to do that? Oh, they are. Okay.
They are. We led the nation in e-visits for the past couple of years, but it seems like Epic's finally picking that up and starting to.
Down breaking news here on the Insights podcast at AI Med 25.
That's right.
Well, it just points to this whole example that you guys bring up points to the importance of being thoughtful about your approach and not just throwing technology at things and using the history that you have and how to care for patients and then layering technology on top of that.
Yeah. The AI can work, and ML can work in any areas of that stack. ML can work really good at figuring out what's the root cause, right? So you can then look at associations, right? ML is really good at finding associations. It may not be good with particularly causality, but you can look at those. It then gives you going from an infinite canvas of potential root causes to 20, and then you get a bunch of smart people in the room together and figure out, are those things actually associated, right? So you can look at it at that on the front end. You can then look at it on the back end as well. Are you doing something? Does that thing that you are doing actually decrease some of the probability stuff that you're working in? A good example, that's our deterioration index that we do, right? And so we actually kind of became a victim of our own success with the deterioration index. So we made this whole index that would figure out if a patient is going to likely deteriorate and get worse in the hospital. Two important parts we found out when we first designed it. We designed it for 6 to 8 hours out. And realized that those patients actually weren't sick enough for people to do anything about. So they would go in, they would look at them and be like, this person's not sick.
Happens all the time. Right. Yeah.
And so we actually
send them home and then they get worse. And
we didn't send them home. We didn't send them home.
But other places might.
But what we found is if you actually tuned up your algorithm a little bit more and made it a little closer to the event, the patients would look sicker and people would actually do something about it. So it's you'd always need something that works good for the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? You have to think about what your action that the individual is going to take.
Could you predict as well?
Yeah, we're pretty good at it. And then we ended up getting so good at it that our population changed because we started predicting it, right? And then a bunch of those people that were going to deteriorate all of a sudden didn't deteriorate because we made them better.
Yes.
And then we became a victim of our own success and our model became less predictive over time, which we just recently retrained it.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're selling health supplements to make people well. Sorry.
That's CMMI's job now, not us.
That's a joke that fell flat, folks. You should have seen their faces. I wish we had this on video.
Well, and I guess if you think about this from a risk perspective, value-based arrangements, this could become very interesting, right? You want to speak to that or?
Yeah, so before moving into this innovation role, I was actually the director for analytics for our value-based care team.
Oh, okay.
And the impact that the data makes and the impact that value-based care can have to our patients is it's so enormous. And I think if we don't expand that, because the finances are totally different. And so if you don't actually expand your risk contracts to include more of your patients, then you're taking value-based actions without the value-based reimbursement. And that gets really interesting on the hospital side. So, Ochsner is doing a lot to really grow our value-based population.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on that. What brings you guys to this meeting? You guys are top of the game here in AI. What brings you to AI Med?
I think for me, it's who's a little bit ahead of us, who has kind of gone through what we're going through and shown tangible outcomes and success. It's one thing to build a strategy and a framework, and we're kind of building it all while doing it all at the same time. But who's getting those actual outcomes, and what have they learned that we can learn from, not stumble through in the next
Who comes
6
to mind when
months?
you think about that?
That's a great question, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good recovery from a bad joke.
Yeah, there we go.
A great question.
I mean, we're early in the conference, so I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. I think that a lot of the work that's come out of some of the work around that Mayo has done for chart search,
That's number one for me. Yeah.
like that work is really cool. I think that work is ultimately something that Epic will do. And I think that but it tells us, okay, what are the capabilities that you need for a team? Our team is small but mighty. So we don't have a 200 data scientist team. So we need to be able to think of something that other folks are doing that you can do with a small team. And that's one of the neat things about AI is that you actually don't need a giant team. You can have 2 or 3 AI engineers that are cranking out tools and moving things at an unbelievable clip.
And they used to take years are now taking days.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's the message for rural hospitals too. Like there's so much you can do now that you couldn't do even a year ago with AI.
Well, I think the first mile and the last mile are going to be the hardest parts there. So like the first mile is like determining what problems you need to solve and iterating on that. And the last mile is like developing that workflow integration and getting people over it. And I think
and finding money to support it, which is hard.
Money is always hard in healthcare. But so if you'll attend my talk as a shameless plug about the AHEAD network, we're actually creating a network with a bunch of universities across the Gulf South and with Emory, Georgia Tech, University of Florida, Tulane, University of Louisiana. Ochsner is one of the founding members of that. Cool. That is actually leveraging university resources of data science. These are hungry PhDs and postdocs that want to do work in healthcare, but they don't know the problems.
Yes.
Right? So if we can bring the rural hospitals and bring those networks together, give them the problems, then all of a sudden it becomes a very virtuous relationship, right? Like they can actually solve a lot of use the data science resources.
Give us a preview of your talk. Tell us a little bit more about the association.
Yeah, so the AHEAD network is something that we've been working on. I've been pushing that ball uphill for a couple of years now. And it's really been a labor of trying to get together all these 3 different groups of people that need or are interdependent on each other. One being industry that has the money, capital, right? The other being healthcare that has the problems. And the third being universities that have potentially the people that can help solve the problems, right? And so, there's a lot of issues in getting those 3 large groups of people with very different strategies together
into
a single
goals.
Exactly. And together. But like, I think now that we have moved this down 2 years, like if you were to look at this 2 years ago and say, well, is this even possible? I'd be like, 30-70. And it actually, I was in Atlanta last week at the kickoff meeting.
At Emory.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, actually, it was at Georgia Tech.
Oh, Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Georgia Tech. But Emory was there. And so like the whole concept that people are now realizing is that you don't need a company to solve a lot of these problems. And I think that people also don't realize as well that the solutions are way easier to design, which is why we're seeing this big flood, which is why health is just insane now, right? Because the solutions are easy, which means that there's a lot of people, if you put a little capital behind them, that can design things.
AI accelerating partnerships and integrations and collaborations. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an emerging theme. No one's really talking about that.
It's unique. The National Science Foundation, we're actually going to get funded, hopefully by the NSF, if there is an NSF next couple of years.
No followings on this show.
Fair.
You'll make Saul crazy. You'll start throwing things.
Fair. So yeah, we're hopefully getting it funded by the NSF, and then that'll represent some really good collaborations with David's team, because he knows a lot of those team too from his work. David,
we had a kind of a pre-symposium or pre-kickoff symposium this summer. We had decent attendance. I think there was probably about 50 or 60 people there, but it was all people in the area and really interesting work, really great collaboration. I think there's going to be so much value there.
Nice. All right, let's do the shotgun round, right? Did we call it a shotgun round? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So from Louisiana, we're all about that.
That seems weird for some reason. I don't know why. You ever do that when you say a word, you're like, that's not the right word? It's
All the time. All the time.
Okay. All right. Why did you get into healthcare, David?
2 answers. One, kind of fell into it. Came from an audit world where most of the data was healthcare data. So auditing with the state auditor, a lot of work with Medicaid. But stayed in it really because I saw the value in helping people.
Nice.
And actually, I bring this up with our team a lot, and it was a lot harder on the value-based care population health side because we were 4 steps removed from a patient, if not more. With this innovation team, like Jason talked about, the deterioration model, and we had an email come through last week. We actually went live at a new site, a new Ochsner site with our model, and it was the chief nursing officer saying we had our first patient transferred to the ICU from the model. And so you could really feel the actual impact.
Wow.
Saving a life, it really means something.
Yeah.
And in kind of a data science world, sometimes that's hard to recognize that direct impact. But in healthcare, it's there. And it's extremely rewarding.
Nice. We're going to modify the name of this. It's going to be called the lightning round now.
It came to me. I was like, it's like
shotgun, lightning. It's a shotgun wedding. No, I mean, I don't know what the hell. I haven't eaten yet, so that could be. They ran out of food. Same question, Jason.
I had kind of a life event happen to me when I was in college, and it was a car accident, and had a lot of interaction with the healthcare system, both good and horribly awful. And it made me think about my direction. I was actually, my undergraduate degree was in engineering, and I was moving rapidly towards a graduate degree in engineering and then realized sort of like in that process that I really wanted to take care of people. And I think that's probably the calling of healthcare.
Yeah.
You feel
shared mission.
Yeah. Well, it's a calling. You feel
it is a call.
You really do.
They don't pay us enough, right? So it's got to be something.
I mean, we get paid okay. I'm not going to say we're not getting.
David's going, I don't get paid. I think I need my move. David's like, I don't get paid okay. I got to talk out this.
And Saul,
he's a data scientist. They're hiring these guys like professional athletes, okay? So like,
you do okay.
Oh, you're a data scientist? Oh, my, please.
Yeah.
You give an autograph?
You get a $100 million comp package from Meta's on his way. Don't worry.
Don't cry for David Argentina, okay? All right, next question. Go back in time, see your 20-year-old self. What would you tell him?
Take more math classes.
Math. Oh, nice.
I didn't really get into it until grad school. And it would have made grad school a whole lot easier.
Nice. Differential calculus and all that jazz. Nice. All right. Jason.
What would I have told my 20-year-old self? You're not going to believe it, but someday you'll end up a doctor. I think my 20-year-old self did not believe me. I was like, I told them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, isn't it crazy how the universe just sort of takes you on this amazing journey if you let it?
It really is.
You wake up and you're a doctor.
Not just a doctor, though. The weird thing is you end up a doctor, and then you end up a clinical informaticist, and then you end up being the clinical partner to a data science team. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
how did I plot that trajectory?
And that's the really cool thing about it, right?
And then you have kids, like 5 of them. Yeah, like, what happened?
Yeah. And Jason, you've done I've had a chance of chatting with you before, and from the AI scribing, which is what we were talking about last time, to the work that you're doing now in predictive medicine, like your background in engineering is what actually carved your space in what you're doing now as a physician. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Desert Island, 5 records, albums. What would you pick? You could do movies too if you're more of a movie guy than a music guy, but oh man. Little Linkin Park or
I do like some Linkin Park.
Little Soundgarden. I can see you. I see you, man. I feel you.
Do some karaoke on stage last week with Eve 6.
Oh,
that was a good thing. I know, huh?
Yeah. What's that famous song?
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
I'm sure if you go back into the Cat's Meow archives, you could find it. But no, I think it would be Garth Brooks, 7.
Oh, nice.
Great album. And cool.
I appreciate you mentioning the albums too. Most people don't. That's good.
They're slightly older than you might think I am.
You're older than me?
No, than you think I am.
Oh, okay.
That no was a little emphatic. Sorry.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was actually, now that you mentioned it, it was, I don't even think I got the words out. You had no.
It's a quick one. We'll throw Mighty Ducks, the movie, in there. Since she said that was allowed.
Yeah.
Maybe that Eve 6 album.
Yeah. Good.
All right. I'm sticking with 3.
All right. Jason.
Okay. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex.
I'm on your island. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, love that. Very nice.
Love that album. I would say Pearl Jam 1 because I'm a kid of the 90s. I would also say, let's go with the Matrix trilogy.
Nice. Yeah.
Which I'm going to just
Even the third one?
classify as, yeah, I would do it.
Have you seen the John Wick documentary?
No, but I love me some John Wick.
Dude, you got to see the documentary.
Classics.
Documentary's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, it's about the making of the movies and everything that went into the whole Wick trilogy.
Netflix thing or something?
It's out new. It's out on the plane. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That's a
Check it out.
It's a really
Nothing
great.
but action.
I mean,
that's
John Wick too. I mean, is he the coolest man alive?
Yeah, truly.
Seriously?
Yeah. My wife has already fully decided that she's going to try to steal him.
He is amazing. He's so cool.
I was like, she gets, so this is a side story, but like she has this best friend, and that best friend then decides to pretend that she is Keanu and sends my wife like birthday cards and Christmas cards under the guise of Keanu. So I have to sift through her mail and be like, wait, what's going on here, honey? And she's like, that's from Cindy. I don't know.
Oh, Cindy. Okay, good. I'm glad you got to. Is that the name of your wife? Or
no, my wife's name's Elizabeth, but Cindy's the friend that sends her a thing. He's under the guise.
He's a full listener of this program. So, Keanu, Elizabeth, look at her.
Stay away from my wife's friend. She would leave me for you in a moment. Stay away from her.
Jason might go all John Wick on you. Keanu. Oh, that's good. All right. Last question. Riskiest thing you've ever done? David, you seem like a huge risk taker.
Skydiving.
Oh,
Yeah,
You did it, huh?
Yeah, on 3 times.
wow.
Twice not tandem.
Ooh.
So,
Really?
I remember specifically in you had to take the 6-hour class before they let you jump by yourself. And they said, these parachutes are really expensive. If the first one is twisted, just cut it, let it go, and pull your backup chute. I'm like,
So you found God too.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. But
That's what they tell you?
Yeah.
I just
We're
learned
still
something
here.
about David right now.
First of all, what are you cutting it with? You have a knife?
there's just a clip that
Oh,
lets it go. Yeah.
Pull up my as I'm dropping to the earth. Let me pull up my switchblade.
No more skydiving?
No. Oh, no.
All right.
No, it's been.
But you did it though 3 times.
Pretty good,
That's
man.
impressive.
It's pretty good.
That's impressive, Jason.
Okay, so there's this thing in Vegas. It's called the Exotic Experience, and it's not what it sounds like. It's where it's the cars. So you drive a Ferrari F-150, a Lamborghini, and a Jaguar XJ7.
Did you go 200?
The straightaway is not long enough for 200.
Yeah, it's not long enough.
Yeah.
How fast did you get?
I got about 160.
Yeah,
There's a base car there, and it's a lot of fun. That's probably the riskiest
Did it
thing.
lift a little? Did it feel like it was lifting?
It was, so when you're winding through these roads, you're definitely feeling the side pull as you're trying to go around those corners. So luckily, honestly, of all those cars, the Jag was the best.
Really?
Jag was actually better than Lamborghini in handling the corners
Yeah.
and the acceleration.
Now, after that, did you go fire some weapons?
You didn't, you?
Look, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I think you're going to need to sponsor a HIMSS event to go fire those rock guns.
I think that's great. That'll be your next podcast, guys.
We should do it there. It's that. Oh, the range. That'd be fun. All right. Hypothetically, what's the funnest weapon you've ever fired? Assuming you ever did.
By the way, you guys know that Ed was a marksman, right?
No, yeah. That's what marksman in the military. Army guy.
I've got about 10 total sessions with a Glock under my belt, and that's it.
Oh, okay. Glocks.
It's fun.
Yeah. Impressive.
My dad is a Navy guy and has an unbelievable amount of guns. So I fired a lot of weapons.
Oh.
That's awesome.
And my favorite weapon that I fired, actually just telling the story about this, was my friend of mine, Doug, had bought this weapon off of a secondhand store that was a Japanese anti-aircraft rifle. And it fired a very special piece of ammunition that we had to make bullets ourselves. And it has like one of those little anti-aircraft adjustable sights.
Yeah.
Up or down on it. So it has a 2-point sight. You can go up or down depending on this. And it has actually in Japanese the speed of the plane. So you can then figure out like if you fired the bullet, like if it would actually hit the plane.
Wow.
So we built about 50 bullets, got a couple of adult beverages under our belts, and friends.
Plane. Did you have a plane?
No, unfortunately not. Stationary targets. We were in our mid-20s, and
David's like
and Doug's got a farm, so there's no one around. Okay, so a gun safety
of home kids.
Safe area.
gun safety things were adhered to.
Yeah.
And I remember firing this weapon, and it almost blew my shoulder off. It was this giant package on the back of it, and it's a straight wooden butt on the back of the gun. And so that force just completely transferred back into my shoulder. And I remember falling backwards after firing it. And literally, I looked at my friend Jesse, who was right after me, and I was like, all right, your turn.
I'm done with that one.
50 cals are fun to fuck.
50 cals are fun.
Yeah. And the law, if you get like
Hey,
just don't stand behind the law.
and I've never fired a law. That would be really fun. 50 cal is fun in a very controlled environment on a point mounted 50 cal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you didn't carry one?
Yeah.
Nothing like carrying a
Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
man. All right. I think we're ready to wrap.
Yeah,
That's
this was
great,
fantastic.
guys. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having us.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
And by the way, if anybody wants to get in touch or learn more about the work that you guys do, where can they do that?
You can email me or David, jahill@ochsner.org.
And I'm David.Leingang, Leingang, @ochsner.org.
Awesome.
You
Mine's
could make
easier.
that easier.
We'll leave that there. We'll leave that in the show notes, guys. You know, he's been there a while. You guys don't have to figure out how to spell it. It's in the show notes. Check those out for the ways to get in touch. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks all. Thanks, Ed.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you.